wants versus needs.
Right.
Right. That can be tricky, especially when you're younger, because you want to have fun. You want to, you want to live a little bit. So.
And we're live, Cuzzo. Hit him with that intro.
Welcome back to the Electives Podcast. This is episode 30. Today, we will be jumping into a nice little topic called finances, man.
Yeah, we haven't touched on that one too much. Like,
No,
it
we
was like
haven't.
briefly.
But before we get into it, man, we got to put a disclaimer out there. What are we? What are we?
We ain't financial advisors.
We are not. We are not financial advisors. So anything that we discuss here, don't take it to the grave. All right. Don't take it to the grave.
Right.
All right.
Let's get into it, man. All right, first one that people hate talking about is debt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I mean, getting out of college, that was kind of my biggest thing was debt.
Okay.
Did you have any after you got out of like hair school or?
I had a little bit, but it wasn't like
nothing crazy.
No, nothing crazy, man. It was like 10 grand. I think
that's not bad.
Yeah, no. So, but yeah, debt is something that can be a tool if used correctly. Right. My first encounter with that philosophy was Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, same thing, man. Same thing. And then to get out of debt, because we'll dive into the investment part.
Mm-hmm.
But to real quick, because sometimes the questions that I get as working in real estate is their debt to income ratio, right? So they need a way to get out of debt and raise their credit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you came across any ideas or strategies to get out of debt?
Yeah, there's a gentleman by the name of Dave Ramsey, down in Tennessee.
There you go.
I came across him on YouTube. It was either YouTube or Instagram. But I believe it was called the Debt Snowball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is a pretty simple concept. I guess the best way to explain it is if you were to have 3 credit cards.
Right.
And, they all have different amounts. Let's say one has 10,000, one has 5,000, the other one has 1,000. This philosophy is designed to motivate you to continue knocking off each card one at a time, right? And so he teaches that you start off with the smallest one, the one that has the highest interest, I believe it is first, right? Yep. And you pay the minimums on the other 2, and then you throw everything that you can, all the finances that you have, all the financial power that you have to get rid of that one first.
Right.
And then once you get rid of that one, you have the momentum, right? And the optimism of, hey, I checked this first one off. Now let me tackle the next one.
Yeah.
And
then the snowball effect.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I use, because I went and bought his book, the Total Money Makeover or whatever it was. Yeah, Total Money Makeover. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's a lot of principles in there that I did like. Obviously, there's some things that Dave Ramsey says that I don't like, and I won't do. But the snowball effect is definitely, if you're in debt right now, that is a great way to get going. Now, obviously, to be able to throw extra money at your other debt, you might have to get rid of some things.
Yeah.
That part you do have to do, like that was covered in his book. You may have to sacrifice some things, whether it's like Netflix, Apple Music, something like
going out to eat,
going out
like
to
that.
eat. You may have to do that in order to get out of it, because otherwise the snowball effect won't work.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings in like our next topic too, wants versus needs. Right. And kind of taking the time to figure out what's a asset versus what's a liability.
Yeah.
Right. That can be tricky, especially when you're younger, because you want to have fun. You want to, you want to live a little bit. So.
Yeah. You want to go to Black Door?
Yeah.
Shout out Black Door.
Exactly. Shout out Black Door Pub. And, man, and this is also too, financial literacy. Even the topics that we're discussing, we had to do the research and come across it ourselves. Yeah. It's no disrespect to our parents or anything like that. They just didn't know what they didn't know.
Right. So. Right. Now, when it comes to needs and wants, is that anything you're struggling with right now, where you're buying stuff that you need now? Or you're buying stuff that you want now over the things that
I mean, I have.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Oh yeah,
have
we
done
all
it,
have.
You know, I definitely have done it. Right now, at this particular moment in time, no, I'm not. I'm not necessarily overextending myself with like my purchase of materialistic things because I'm not really a materialistic person. I mean, I like nice things, but I don't. You know, I don't feel like I need to have the nicest shoes or the nicest clothes or anything like that, or even the nicest car right now for that matter.
Right.
But I mean, every now and then, if there's something that I really want,
yeah,
you know, I'll purchase it. But it's usually something small anyway.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, same here, man. I think when it came to, finally getting like a new car, it was after, buying, having 2 investment properties I could pay for the car.
Right.
So then after that, it was like, all right, I waited 5-6 years or whatever the case was, whatever the time frame was, and then I was like, I'm gonna spend a little bit on the car.
Yeah.
So,
and also too, man, I'm sure that when you purchased the car, there was a motivating factor as well, right? Like once you got it, it's like, okay, this is a tool also too to push me further. You know, I want more for myself.
Yeah, because there's some thoughts on it where if you're driving like a nice car or it's an expensive car, and you can pay for it, but it's kind of making you a little tight.
Right.
There's thoughts where it'll make you want to work harder because now that you got it,
right.
Now you're like, man, I gotta grind even harder or do something else so that way I can just make sure I pay for it and keep it.
Yeah, and those are 2 ideologies, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then another person may say like, well, I don't have the money to afford it.
Yeah.
Right. But then someone like yourself will say, well, how can I make more money to afford it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because I mean, like we talked about in our last episode, I mean, you're only here one time.
That we know of.
That we know of, right? You might come back as a bird or something.
Who knows, man? You never know. You
right.
never know.
But yeah, if you're only here one time, man, you gotta at least find a way to enjoy what's out here. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you, man. I hear you.
But yeah, so needs versus wants. I mean, do you have any principles or rules that you follow before you make any purchases?
Well, at this particular moment in time, like I'll ask myself, do I really, really, really need it?
Yeah.
You know, is it gonna change my life that drastically? You know, and most of the time the answer is no. You know, I think we're a little older now in our 30s, so that the impulse buy, falling for marketing, different things like that. I mean, yeah, every now and then I may see a commercial for something like, oh, that'd be nice to have, but then after thinking about it, it's like, I don't really need it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. Lately, I've been thinking more about just where the market's at, right, as a whole, the economy of America, and saying that I need to make more investments.
Yeah.
You know, especially at a time like this where it's looking like we're heading into a recession if we aren't already in a recession.
Right.
So, I mean, you got to try and strike while the iron's hot, right?
Yeah,
So,
as they say.
They say. So, but yeah, man, that would be my answer. I really don't have anything
like rules or like things like that.
No, because I'm a pretty simple. I'm a pretty simple person when it comes to that. You know, like I don't know. I don't feel the. If I was a person that was trying to keep up with the Joneses, though,
right,
then yes, I think that would be an issue, for me. But
yeah, because that I feel like that's probably the biggest problem when it comes to debt.
Yeah,
because
trying
to just keep up with everything. Yeah, I mean everything just costs way too much anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a topic I've had of conversation I've had with like my parents and like other friends, even you outside of here.
Yeah.
Because like me, I'm more technical, so
Mm-hmm.
like I keep like an Excel sheet on my phone, so I know everything that comes in, everything comes out of like every month. I know everything. Yeah. So like if I'm gonna buy like a pair of shoes, I know if I could buy a pair of shoes or not, or if like I got if I'm like, dang, I've already got this much saved, like do I want to dip in there or not? Mm-hmm. So I'm more technical that way.
And when did you start that? How old were you when you started doing?
Man, I started that. I started that probably about when I was like 25. So like after college, and then after getting starting my career, then I was like, man, I need to break this all down because I need to have more money in my pocket. And then that's when I started doing it. And then after a while, it was I only have to check in with myself like every 3 months. I still do the sheet every month, but I kind of already have all the numbers. Yeah, I already have all the numbers in my head. Like when it comes to even credit cards, which is the next thing we'll get into, like credit cards, any and all bills, gas. Like I pretty much have that down, pretty much down to a couple dollars, like within a couple dollars, like in my mind. But I have it in the sheet, which helps prevent me from keeping up with the Joneses, because like there's that new iPhone, and
that titanium.
And I want to get it, but I don't know if I can get it, like, or if I should get it. My 13 is
needs versus wants.
Right. So that's where I'm at. Battling every week or every day, every time something comes out.
And that makes that's what makes us all human, right? Is that, hey man, every now and then you're gonna want something maybe that is a little outside of your means.
Right. Oh yeah, that's definitely. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and if you're gonna get it, you just got make sure you can pay it, man. That's all. That's all we can say. Make sure you can pay that.
Yeah.
But before buying stuff, I mean, I think now that as I gotten older, I definitely think if you're gonna spend any money, it should be on investing either in yourself or something that can bring that money back and then some. What about you?
No, I agree. I think when it comes to investing, there's different kinds of investing, right? You have real estate, you have the stock market, right? You have life insurance,
right?
Like you said, investing in yourself, starting a small business, something along that way. I mean, that right there is 3 to 4 ways of creating, potential residual income long term.
Right.
And we believe that these are things that you should be considering in your 20s, definitely in your 30s, and even on into your 40s. What we also want to remind, our viewers and our listeners of is there's no wrong time to get started. You can be in your 30s or in your 40s and still have an opportunity to set yourself up for retirement. Now you may have to work a little harder, you may have to put in a little more, but it is possible. The younger you are, the better.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely.
The younger you are, the better, because you can use something called compound interest to your advantage, right? And I mean, for those who don't know what compound interest is let's say you have and maybe I'm not the best person to break this down, but just follow me here for a second. Let's say you have $1,000, you invest it, and over 1 year you get a 10% return, right? So you get $100 added on to that amount that you first started with. So now going into year 2, you got 1,100, right? And if that compounds again, another 10%, well then you just add on the amount that you gained every year, and then that's earning interest for you, so that after 40, 50 years of doing that, you got yourself a nice little egg just sitting there waiting for you.
I agree. Do you have anything currently that you're doing?
I did
crypto, stock market, FanDuel.
FanDuel.
Right.
I've been getting whacked lately. Let's just say that. But it's football season.
The stock market is down.
Yeah,
FanDuel.
The stock market is down on FanDuel.
Oh man.
But so I have different investments in the stock market. I also have a Roth IRA. I have a life insurance policy, and I do have a little bit of crypto.
There you go.
I think it's important to diversify your portfolio.
Right.
Crypto is something that when it first started, when it first came out, it was like the Wild Wild West, man. It was nuts. Back in when I first came across it was like 2013, and I heard about Bitcoin, right? And
it was like $200.
Yeah. And were you familiar with it at that time?
I just heard about it, but I was like, even to this day, I'm not a big fan of crypto. I don't know. I just don't know about it.
You feel like it's one big Ponzi scheme?
Yeah, like I don't know if I could put my money in there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I have, and I've seen it come and I've seen it go. I have, man.
That's my biggest fear.
It's interesting, right? Because what I've learned through the process of cryptocurrency is that the currency themselves isn't really where the gold is. The gold is in the technology that they use, which is called blockchain.
Right.
Now, blockchain is something that can be used not just in crypto, but is being adapted worldwide in other areas of technology. And that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Bitcoin itself, though, when I first heard about it, it was kind of like this mystical thing, right?
Yeah.
It was a guy by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, he was supposed to be the creator. No
Right.
one knew who this guy was.
Yeah.
He was like a rogue guy, right?
Yeah.
So it pops up on the internet. People start using it as forms of payment to do different transactions.
Right.
You know, good things, bad things, but that people were using it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, man, it started gaining momentum. It started taking off, and more people started investing in it. Because from my understanding, Bitcoin, every 4 years it does something called halving, which is it destroys itself almost.
Oh, okay.
And by destroying itself, it makes every little piece of that coin more valuable. So it's one way of investing, but it's not honestly, it's not the safest investment. Bitcoin is like in my opinion, crypto is like if you just got some money laying around and you just want to, you know, literally just gamble, take a gamble.
Take
basically.
a gamble.
You throw a little bit in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where with crypto, that's my little note on that. But life insurance policy I think is important to have.
Yep.
Obviously, the younger the better as well.
Right.
And depending on what kind of life insurance policy you get, that can have benefits later on down the road.
Right.
So, do you have a life insurance policy?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one did you?
I have a term one right now.
Okay.
So I think I used to have. Did I? Yeah, I used to have a different one, and then I had.
Was it whole life? Or?
It was. I think it was an index.
Okay.
Index.
Okay.
But then I switched it just because of those can be a little more expensive up front than obviously a term, which is a totally different topic. But obviously term's always gonna be cheaper than the lifelong one. But now I'm like in this transition where I could always I could switch it now,
right?
So that way when I get older, then I'm straight. But
and that's actually a good point, because the younger you start, the more aggressive you can be in the beginning.
Right.
And as you get older, you want to become more conservative with your investments.
Right.
So, you kind of taper them down as you get older and slow them down, because now you've got all this compound interest that's working for you.
Right.
You don't need to
give it up.
Exactly. You don't want to lose it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's, and I still have obviously, the traditional, 401k, which is okay. It's not bad. It's definitely one vehicle you can have, but I definitely think you should have more than one based on what we're seeing now, how expensive things are.
Right.
I don't believe a 401k is going to be your only option when you get older.
Right.
Unless because if you do the math, you would have to have millions in there in order to never work.
Right.
And still pay insurance and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I think more than one is beneficial to somebody if you have more than one vehicle.
I agree. Now, are you more traditional IRA, or do you entertain Roth IRAs as well?
I don't have a Roth.
Okay.
Basically, I use the traditional, and then real estate is my second.
Gotcha.
Just because real estate, as it gets paid off, then whatever the house is worth is what I'll have, when it's all said and done. So the more houses I have, then the more money I'll have, and then aside from the rent that comes in, so you get that on top of whatever the house is worth. And if you're ever in a bind, you could always just reach from
in that bucket.
It's like a credit card.
Yeah.
And then somebody's paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
So those are the two things I use right now.
Nice.
I just use that and real estate, and then I think I should be I think that should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, if you're, because like myself, I'm self-employed, right?
Right.
So to all those individuals out there, younger people, or in the 30s, 40s, who are also self-employed, try to really make sure you get yourself either a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, along with these other investments that he's talking about. Something, especially if you're self-employed.
Right.
Because you don't want to look up when it comes to retirement time and just not have anything.
Yeah, you're like, dang, now I got to start. Nah, it might be a little too late by then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But what are your future predictions from going into 2024 with the market, the economy? Where do you think we're headed?
$1 billion market crash. No, I'm
Right.
just kidding.
Right.
I'm just kidding. No, I think, and going back to when we referenced like Jim Rohn in the Seasons of Life.
Right.
Well, it's gonna be the same as it always has been.
Yeah.
We're gonna have ups in the market. We're gonna have downs in the market. Obviously, the concept of buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
Applies. So really, it's just about striking when the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Real estate is still on fire. Houses are going on the market every day.
Yeah.
People are buying cash, or overpaying for properties. So, I mean, real estate, I think is going to be fine. I do see a correction happening at some point, but I don't think the correction is going to be.
You think it's next year, or do you think it's further out?
That I don't know, because I like, paying attention to interest rates and what the government's doing. I mean, they're trying to ride this train as long as they can. I mean, and then we also have issues like the United States dollar is losing its value.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Right.
And in my opinion, I think the government is, not in a bad way, but they don't want to upset the American people any more than they already have.
Yeah.
So I think they don't want to let the market fully go, into a nosedive,
Yeah.
because then a lot of people will be very, very, very upset.
Oh,
What about yourself, man? What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's gonna be based on the election. I feel like there's gonna be a big change come 2024, where the correction starts to happen, based on the new president.
Yeah.
I feel like the new president is gonna have to do something. If it's not a blue president and it's a red president, I feel like the red is going to do something that's going to cause the correction, because he's either going to have to backtrack some things in order to make some corrections, and then it's going to obviously, go down a little bit, and then it'll come right back up like it always does.
Now, why is that? Why does that happen?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. But I think that's my prediction. So like, I try to buy three properties this year, and it didn't go through. And then I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's a reason behind it. So now, going into 2024, looking at it and looking at what the houses are doing now, and the stock market, I feel like I look at the stock market a little bit, and then I feel like it's just like trying to like make it dive down, but it's like staying afloat.
Yeah.
So I feel like once the election happens, then I think a correction will start in 2024. It may not be till 2025, right, where we actually fully see it,
right.
But it'll start next year.
That's a great point, though, because every time there is an election, that's always usually when the market takes a huge shift.
Yeah,
because Democrats naturally are more, the approach with the economy is more of a, I want to say, it's more people focused, right, when it comes to the masses.
Right.
But the Republican Party is more about, hey, let's be a little more conservative with this, with these money moves, and let's keep this train going so we can all make some more money.
Right. Right. Yeah, because I think the student loan is a huge problem, and I feel like that might cause another type of correction. So
it's very
waiting to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But
do you think they're gonna do a student loan forgiveness?
Well, they did partially. I mean, some people got them, but not everybody. But then I think a poll came out. It was like 27% just said they're not gonna pay it. they're like, man, we gotta buy food. We gotta pay for our house. We gotta because what happened was the deferment gave a lot of extra money to people, and they spent it. And then the government, I don't think, planned for that.
No.
They were like, okay, we're taking the money that they owe us, we're letting them keep it, and then they went and got a car, they went and got a house. Now, student loan, they ain't gonna be able to pay for that. They want like $500 a month on average. There's no way. So unless they're gonna,
they said, come and get me.
Yeah, just come and get me because I ain't paying. But yeah, so I think that's gonna be another issue, a whole issue in itself. But
I guess
we have to wait and see what happens, man.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Wait and
you're
see.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because no one can truly predict it.
No,
right?
no.
You know? Yeah, I mean, even the people on Wall Street. I mean, they have an idea.
Right.
Right. But yeah, no one truly knows. And then also too, man, like we brought up, with the United States dollar declining in value worldwide, I believe I want to say it was at least 20 countries have decided to not use the United States dollar as their main form of currency when it comes to trade.
Yep.
That's big, man.
Yeah, it is,
That's
man.
Big.
We're in for a huge shift. Maybe. I mean, unless we somehow bounce back. Because another video, if you guys are out there when you guys watch this, if you get this far, check out Ray Dalio's video on I can't remember the title, but he talks about the empires, the different empires throughout the our lifetime
history.
History, and they all have some things in common. So if you guys I think it's like 20 minutes. 20, 30 minutes. If you got 20, 30 minutes, check out Ray Dalio's video. It's pretty interesting when you look at it.
Now, is he saying that we're close to the fall?
He says we're on the down.
Yeah.
We already turned because, I guess to put it in summary, some of the things that you look at is education. We're very behind in education. And labor. We don't have all the skilled labor is now coming. It's actually transferring to Mexico. So the Mexicans are very skilled laborers, and I think India. So China's also being affected now by all that. And China, because China used to make all their stuff, but now you're seeing Apple's going to India.
Right.
So he talks about those shifts, and then once you see them and you see them start to happen, then that ultimately, causes the fall.
No,
because we're not innovative anymore. We're getting it from somewhere else. Somebody else is doing it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and we can't compete with India or China when it comes to manpower.
Yeah, or tech. I mean, tech and so. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, man. But that's definitely it's an interesting video.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it, man. Because that kind of stuff I find interesting.
Yeah, check it out, man. Don't let it scare you though.
No,
some people get scared.
No fear.
Yeah, no fear.
But we got a quote of the day for the people out there that are watching and listening, man. Let's jump right into it.
We won't call it a quote of the day. I want a quote for people to think about.
Okay.
And then we'll discuss our thoughts too.
Okay. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
This is
all right. So I'm gonna mess up his name. I wish I had Nick in here.
That's why I wanted you to say it.
I wish I had Nick in here to say it. So it's a French philosopher, La Rochefoucauld, I think.
Close enough.
Foucauld, maybe. Nick will correct me later. But the quote is: "If you want enemies, excel your friends. If you want friends, let your friends excel you."
Okay.
So this came out of a book, how to win friends and influence people.
Okay.
Right. And and when I first read it, I had to take a pause to kind of digest it. So what's the first thing or things that come to your mind when you hear that?
My main takeaway is my interpretation of it, I guess I should say, is that don't outshine those around you, or not don't outshine them, but don't egotistically try and outshine the people that you're around, and make it seem like you're above them, like you're on this pedestal and everybody else is just, they should just be thankful to be in your presence.
Right. Right.
That's the interpretation I take from it. And then when it says, if you want it the other way around, let your friends shine, or always shine light on your friends, is kind of how I take it.
Right.
Like we were discussing before we shot the episode.
Yeah.
Whatever you do outside of the podcast,
right,
I want all the success for you. Every single thing that you do, I'm happy for you.
Right.
Want to see you win, want to see you succeed.
Right.
Same thing for all of my friends in my close circle.
Yeah.
Just because one of us is doing really well, it doesn't mean that we grab that person down.
Right.
No. Everybody wins. Everybody eats.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you think when you first heard it?
Obviously, I had to go the sports route. So I think of Jordan when I think of, if you want enemies, excel your friends. He didn't have a lot of friends. Same thing with Kobe, aka the Mamba mentality, right? people like to talk about it, but when it's time to do that, very few. Right, very few do it because with that comes a lot of
enemies.
Yeah, or negative. It's just negative because I mean, you become a tryhard or things like that. So when I think of that, I always think of those two, and then I think of the flip side is like a LeBron or like a Steph. They're very good, but they're not excelling everybody. They're just about the same. Steph's won a little bit, KD's won a little bit. Dwayne Wade, they're on the same team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're not out there trying to just beat everybody.
Right.
They're like, let's all kind of share the winnings a little bit.
No, that's a good point, man. That's a good way to
So when I
at
think of that's what I think of when I think of the first part and then the second part. So and then it makes me think is when you bring it down to like a child, what we teach them. Do we, which route do you go? We've had this discussion a couple times. And then when we were in LA, one of the Derek Fisher was talking with the girls, and they were, he was telling them, don't be afraid to be a tryhard, because obviously if you're the one in the drills, you're going 100%, you're sweating, you're all over the place,
right?
Everybody's like, why are you trying so hard? Like it's just practice,
right.
So like, there's like for some reason there's a negative view on that.
Yeah. Now, why do you think that is? Because I think it has more to do with like the human psyche and the way that we have evolved. Sometimes I think it stems from it triggers, and we've discussed this before on the podcast too. When someone is trying something or doing something that the masses aren't doing, it can provoke insecurities in people around you or in a particular person because they themselves don't have the courage maybe to want to be that try hard, to want to put themselves out there, to want to take the risk. So it bothers them that you took the risk, right? And they didn't.
And like the most recent is the whole Deion Sanders thing. I mean, yes, he's getting all the shine right now, but I mean, it's like the Floyd Mayweather. They're waiting for him to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then because there's no other coach that they're doing that to. It's just because it's Deion and he's confident. He's confident in his boys. That they're gonna come out and do their thing.
Yeah. He's completely changed the way college football is played and looked at now. Forever. It'll never be the same. I mean, he had Lil Wayne perform over the weekend.
He had The Rock there.
He had rappers and like, jokingly he goes on First Take and he'll say like, people are getting mad at me because it's about to look like the BET Awards in Boulder, Colorado. But he's brought out such a support. Such a support from all over. But I mean, why not root for the guy?
Oh yeah, you gotta root for him, man.
He's doing everything that he can, not only for the program, but also for those young men and young women in the program, right? His main thing is, I want these young men not to just be, athletes that go on to play at a high level, but I want them to be good human beings, one really cool stat that I saw was that everybody that's on the football team, the average GPA is like 3.7 or 3.9, something like that. And that's the first time in Colorado football history that's ever happened.
Wow.
So
I mean, he's doing a lot of big things over there.
He just shifted the entire culture, man. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that was just a little quote to reflect on. There's no right or wrong answer, I guess. It's just kind of
it's just personal opinion.
And how you feel about it. But yeah, man. I hope you guys got some from this episode. And with that, hit him with that outro, cousin.
We want to thank you guys here at the Alexis Podcast always for watching and listening. This was another great episode. And once again, we are not financial advisors, so please don't. Take our advice and the topics that we discuss with a little bit of caution. But overall, we hope you guys learned something. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Peace.